Okay, today we are digging into a really critical report from Australia's central bank that gets to the heart of a deep problem in our economy. And this is one of those things that really matters because it directly affects your pay, your cost of living, and frankly, our country's future. So let's get right into it.
I mean, it's a feeling a lot of us have, right? You're putting in the hours, doing the work, but it just feels like you're treading water. Well, it turns out there's a powerful economic force that, for decades, actually made sure things did keep getting better for most people.
Just think about that for a second. 10 minutes of work down to 4 for the exact same thing. That difference, well, that's the magic of this economic force. It's our ability to get more done with less effort. And it has a name that's key to, well, everything.
Right, so that whole loaf of bread example, that is a perfect real-world result of productivity growth. But what actually is it?
Essentially, you can just think of it as a measure of our economic efficiency. It's not about how long we work or even how hard we work. It's all about how much we can actually produce with the people and tools we have.
And this is the line that the Reserve Bank itself uses, and it's absolutely the perfect way to think about it. It's all about innovation, new technology, and just better processes that let us create way more value.
And when that engine is really humming, it's amazing for everybody. Goods and services get cheaper, just like that loaf of bread. Businesses can actually afford to give people pay rises without having to jack up prices. The entire economic pie literally gets bigger, which, over time, is the single most important thing for lifting our national living standards. But, and this is a big but, there's a problem.
Yeah, that powerful economic engine we've been talking about, well, it's been losing steam for a while now.
And look, this isn't some new, shocking issue. It's been a persistent drag, kind of quietly slowing us down for a long time. And when you look at the data, it's pretty stark.
Okay, just take a look at this trend. It's pretty dramatic. You can see back in the late 90s and early 2000s, things were growing strongly. Then a definite slowdown. But that last bar, that's the real story. Get this. Our labor productivity today is at roughly the same level it was back in 2016. We've basically been running in place for years. Now, it's important to know this isn't just an Australian story. A lot of other advanced economies are staring down the exact same problem, which tells you the causes are probably pretty complex and deep.
So the big question is why? What's putting the brakes on everything? Well, the Reserve Bank has been playing detective, and they've sorted the clues into two main buckets. Think of it this way. There are these deep, long-term cracks in the foundation of the economy. And then, on top of that, there have been some more recent shocks that have just weakened the whole structure even more. So first, those deep structural problems. Business dynamism is declining. That's just a fancy way of saying that talent, money, and ideas are getting stuck in older, less efficient companies instead of flowing to the new, innovative ones. We're also seeing slower technological diffusion, meaning it's taking us longer to actually adopt game-changing tech across the whole economy. And when you add in declining competition, well, there's just less pressure on big firms to get creative and find smarter ways of doing things. And on top of those long-running issues, a couple of more recent things have made it worse. Our economy has shifted more towards services like healthcare and education. Now, these are vital, of course, but it's notoriously tricky to measure their output with economic data, so that can drag the national average down. And at the same time, our huge mining sector kind of hit a wall. After the big boom, they had to dig deeper and work harder just to get the same amount of stuff out of the ground, which sent their productivity numbers way down. So you add all this evidence up, the long-term trends and the short-term hits, and the Reserve Bank has come to a really major conclusion. This isn't just a temporary rough patch we're going through. And I can't overstate this. This is a big deal. For years, the official forecasts kind of assumed that eventually productivity would bounce back to normal. But now, the RBA is officially saying, nope, we need to adjust our expectations to a new, slower reality. And here it is. This is the number that changes everything. The RBA has officially downgraded its guess for future productivity growth from 1% down to just 0.7%. Now I know, a 0.3% difference doesn't sound like much, but trust me, over years, across an entire economy, that's a massive, massive change. So, what's the first major consequence? Well, it means the economy's overall speed limit, how fast it can grow without causing runaway inflation, is now officially lower than we all thought.
And here's where it really hits your wallet. In the long run, it's basically an iron law of economics. Real wages can only grow as fast as productivity does. If we're producing less value per hour as a nation, there's simply less money in the pot to go around for pay rises. And you can see exactly what that means for wages right here. Under the old assumption, the thinking was the economy could handle wage growth of about 3.5% a year without problems. But under this new reality, that long-term safe speed limit for our pay packets drops to just 3.2%.
So this all leads us to the final critical question that the Reserve Bank is now grappling with. If the economy's potential is lower and the sustainable pace for our wages is slower, what on earth does that mean for inflation? And this is what it all boils down to. This is the key judgment call that everything now hangs on. If businesses and workers don't adjust their expectations, if everyone keeps pushing for wage and price increases based on that old, faster growth world, then our demand is going to keep smashing up against our economy's new, lower supply capacity. And that can mean more persistent, stubborn inflation for all of us. It is the central puzzle facing our economy, and one we will all be watching very, very closely.